100 for MR Systems Wireless.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The springtime is a very busy season for the Clinton Community Education Foundation as they fundraise to support all the ways they help the Clinton School District. CCEF Secretary Chris Schaefer explains that through things like their teacher grants program, scholarships for high school graduates, and reimbursement of dual credit courses, they supported the district with over $60,000 in the last year alone.
Just this year in February, we gave about $14,000 in classroom grants. Mm-hmm. Scholarship-wise, it keeps going up. We are so blessed to have many endowed scholarships. In 2025, we awarded 34 scholarships. Now, mind you, some of these scholarships we give are 4 years. So kids are getting these every year for 4 years. But we gave $39,000 from CCEF funds and $13,000 from other funds. So a total of $52,000 last year in scholarship money.
Yeah.
We help offset the costs for the AP classes, the dual credit classes. So we pay 75% of the students' cost, and the students only have to pay 25%, which is a great bargain. So the typical cost this past year was $435 for the course. So the kids only had to pay about $100 for a class, which is great. The AP placement fees, we help offset the cost of that. And that's coming up soon, I'm sure. And then we have a bunch of special projects. These are things that are cool. They happen every year, and we give them money to help offset their costs. The Challenger program at the junior high school, the CEO program, all of these kinds of things that are done annually, we help support those as well.
Schaefer says a good year for the CCEF provides over $100,000 to the district. Much of that is raised through some of the upcoming fundraisers like Derby Day and the CCEF Trivia Night, both hosted at the Clinton Eagle in the coming months.
Gosh, definitely over $100,000, because by the time the AP classes are like $14,000, something like that we pay. Wow. So It really adds up.
It does.
So our fundraising is so super important. These two events are important because they help us bump up our budget, help with fundraising, and in order to do all that we do, that's one of the things we've got to raise money. Mm-hmm. And most of the money we raise in our fundraisers go toward classroom grants. We buy additional materials or equipment or whatever is needed to help teachers, things that aren't covered by the budget. Mm-hmm. And then some go help us with scholarships and then other CCEF activities that we do through the year. Our goal is to enhance what's provided to the kids so that they have a very rich educational experience.
Fundraisers are not the nonprofit's only source of funds. Schaefer gives credit to the forethought of previous CCEF boards to create invested endowments that support the organization's income.
Yeah, we were really, the board was set up so many years ago, and they were very forefront thinking, and they created some endowments. Mm-hmm. And so those funds are invested for us, and we can use what's available, the profit. We never go into the balance or the key thing of that. But so those funds really do help us out as well. And, the fundraising helps us add to what's available. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's all contingent on the stock market and how the investments do every year as to what we can provide. But mm-hmm. we want to be good stewards of the money that we've been granted, and we want to spend that and not hoard it. We want to make sure that we do the best we can at sharing the bounty of the founding group of CCEF.
We'll have more from Schaefer in the days ahead on the upcoming Derby Day and Trivia Night fundraisers. In the meantime, learn more about the Clinton Community Education Foundation at ccef15.org or by finding them on Facebook. A new initiative in Lincoln is changing how the local police department approaches community crises. Known as the Bridge Program, this effort aims to shift the focus from traditional enforcement to resource connection for individuals struggling with addiction, homelessness, and mental health challenges. Lincoln Police Chief Joe Meister explains the fundamental concept of the program.
In simple terms, it is a team of folks that represent several different agencies that are trying to bring assistance to those in need. Our target populations are the homeless, the addicted, and the mentally ill. And we partner with Task, who provides a deflection specialist team that come out and make face-to-face contact in our community with those that are suffering and try to find them resources to improve their situation. We launched February 24th, and I've talked about the program several times on this show. We finally launched, and it's active and live, and at least for the city of Lincoln, it's going really, really well. We've had over 30 referrals to the program. I've heard success stories from the deflection team about people that have found treatment facilities that are in active treatment, people that have found shelter that were homeless, even one person that has a job now that was on the street and struggling when we met him. So.
According to Chief Meister, once a referral is made, a deflection specialist conducts a thorough needs assessment to determine the appropriate course of action.
I'll give you a scenario. A husband and wife are fighting. Maybe husband's been drinking too much, and that's the cause of the fight. It's not an arrest situation. It's just a verbal argument. We'll make the suggestion, hey, if this is the cause of the argument, maybe you should talk to these folks that can offer you some resources. We're not going to make you go. But maybe you can talk about getting some help with your issue. If the person is acceptable to it, we'll plug in a referral. It takes 30 seconds. Shoot that to the deflection team, and within 24 hours, the deflection team is making contact with them. And then law enforcement hands are off the situation.
The non-punitive approach is designed to resolve underlying issues that lead to police calls, rather than simply addressing the symptoms through arrest. Additionally, the program relies on a streamlined referral system designed to connect individuals in need with specialized support rather than defaulting to police action alone. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more, all free all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Do you love the DeWitt County community? Are you the person who knows everyone in town and has a heart for the people who live here? Hart Media is looking for another sales account manager to join our team. We're hunting for a fun, outgoing person who wants to be the face of our media products. Help local businesses share their stories through radio and digital media. If you've got a drive to succeed and a passion for people, submit your resume. Connect at heartmg.com. Work where your ideas actually matter. Connect at heartmg.com.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In a game heard on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, the Aki's leadoff home run was all Madison Highland needed as she went the distance in circle, leading Monticello to a 6-0 win over Westville in non-conference high school softball action on Tuesday in Monticello. Key blasted a home run to left field in the bottom of the first inning. Highland took from there. The junior struck out 4 and permitted 5 hits to 0 walks over 7 shutout frames. Key reached base via walks in her next 3 plate appearances. Cassidy Stoffel was 2 for 3 with an RBI double. Highland, Sadie Walsh, and Allie Widener added RBI hits in a 4-run 5th inning that broke the game open for Monticello. Highland was the State Bank of Bement player of the game. Monticello visits Bloomington Central Catholic on Thursday. The Mount Pulaski Hilltoppers delivered an unforgettable comeback, rallying past Heyworth for a thrilling 11-9 victory. Mount Pulaski wasted no time getting on the board in the bottom of the first inning. Behind timely hitting from Jaden Jackson and Tyler Cross, the Hilltoppers jumped out to an early 2-1 lead. Jackson drove in a run with a sharp single when Cross added another RBI knock to give Mount Pulaski early momentum. However, Heyworth quickly flipped the script in the middle innings. A big second inning and continued pressure at the plate allowed Heyworth to surge ahead, capitalizing on extra base hits and defensive miscues. By the time the 5th inning came to a close, the Hilltoppers found themselves trailing 9-4 and searching for answers. That's when the game and momentum came to a halt. The Hilltoppers were able to manage 6 runs in the 5th inning due to timely hitting and aggressive base running. A rain delay between the 5th and 6th innings paused play and gave Mount Pulaski a chance to regroup. What followed that was a completely different team entering the field. Coming out of the delay, the Hilltoppers ignited. In the bottom of the 6th, the Mount Pulaski Hilltoppers exploded for a massive rally that completely changed the game. Key hits from Caden Weiler, Jaden Jackson, and Luke Martin sparked the surge, while aggressive base running and defensive pressure forced Heyworth into critical mistakes. The Hilltoppers plated multiple runs in the inning, quickly erasing the deficit and taking a stunning 11-9 lead. Weiler delivered one of the biggest moments of the night with a clutch RBI hit, while Jackson continued his strong performance at the plate. Martin added to the offensive push, finishing with multiple hits and contributing both on the mound and at the plate. On the pitching side, Mount Pulaski showed resilience after a tough start. Luke Martin opened the game before Preston Cohen came in to settle things down and earn the win. Cohen provided key innings in relief, limiting Heyworth's offense long enough for the Hilltoppers' bats to come alive. Carter Clark also contributed out of the bullpen, helping close the door late. Offensively, Mount Pulaski tallied 11 runs on 8 hits with contributions spread throughout the lineup. Jackson led the charge with multiple hits and RBIs, while Cohen, Martin, Weiler, and Cross all played key roles in the comeback effort. With the win, Mount Pulaski improves to 9-5. They will take on the Illini Bluffs Tigers in Glassford on Thursday. Heyworth falls to 5-8-1 and plays host to Lexington on Wednesday. Chicago rookie Munetaka Murakami homered for the 4th straight game. Sean Burke won for the first time in 17 appearances. And the Chicago White Sox beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 11-5 on Tuesday night.
The White Sox wore Diamondbacks starter Merrill Kelly out early and often in the series opener on Tuesday night. Not only did the first 4 batters all reach base, but they also all came around to score. Then, after a 4 spot in the first, the Sox did something they hadn't done since 2020.
Montgomery hits a towering fly. This one deep. It is gone! 3 straight home runs. 7-0.
Back to back to back, Jacks. Good guys trashed the Diamondbacks 11-5. White Sox continue their 6-game road trip Wednesday night. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 8 p.m. on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The White Sox and Diamondbacks are back at it tonight, and you can hear all of the Game 2 action on WHOW. Pregame starts at 8 p.m. Nathan Church hit a 2-run homer, and Alec Burleson had 2 RBIs to back a strong start by Dustin May. And the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Miami Marlins 5-3 on Tuesday. May, who is 3-2, allowed a leadoff home run to Jacob Marcy, his first of the season, but then settled down. He left with 1 on and 1 out in the 6th, allowing a run and 6 hits. Justin Breuel followed with 1 1/3 scoreless innings. Ryan Stanek walked 3 to load the bases with 2 outs in the 8th and left after a 2-run single by Heriberto Hernandez cut St. Louis's lead to 5-3. George Soriano struck out Connor Norby to end the rally. Riley O'Brien pitched a scoreless 9th for his 7th save in 8 opportunities. He hasn't allowed an earned run in his first 13 1/3 innings. Burleson drove in the Cardinals' first 2 runs off Chris Paddock, who is 0-4, with a first-inning single and a fielder's choice grounder in the 3rd. Church hit his 2nd homer following Mason Wynn's leadoff single in the 4th to put St. Louis up 4-1. Burleson doubled in the 5th and scored on a 2-out single by Nolan Gorman for the Cardinals' final run. Wynn, who went 2 for 4 and scored a run for the Cardinals, has multiple hits in 3 straight games during an 8-game hitting streak. J.J. Weatherholt led off the game with a double and scored 2 runs. Jordan Walker was 0 for 4 to end a 15-game hitting streak. Paddock allowed 5 runs and 8 hits in 4 2/3 innings, but struck out 7. John King got the final out, then pitched a scoreless 6th. Marcy went 3 for 4 to raise his average to 176. Cardinals right-hander Kyle Leahy starts Wednesday's rubber game opposite Marlins right-hander Jansen Junk. Shoto Imanaga pitched 7 innings of 3-hit ball for his 4th consecutive sharp start, and the Chicago Cubs extended their winning streak to 7 games with a 7-4 win over the Philadelphia Phillies on Tuesday night. Nico Horner hit a solo homer, and Seiya Suzuki followed with a 2-run drive to the back of the left field bleachers in the 7th inning. Chicago was outscored opponents 51-18 during its winning streak, the team's longest since an 8-game run in July of 2023. Imanaga allowed his only run on Kyle Schwarber's 8th homer, a solo shot in the 6th. Bryce Harper added a deep 2-run drive off reliever Riley Martin in the 8th as the Phillies dropped a 7th consecutive game for the first time since June 2019. The Phillies scored an unearned run off Jacob Webb in the 9th before Caleb Thielbar got the final 2 outs with 2 runners on for his 2nd save. Philadelphia has been outscored 49-14 during its slide. Michael Busch, who entered batting 169, drove in 2 runs with a bloop single in the 6th off reliever Tanner Banks, who is 0-1, to break a 1-all tie and put Chicago ahead for good. Imanaga is 2-1 and issued his only walk in the first game's batter. Trey Turner then retired 11 straight before Felix Reyes lined a single with 2 outs in the 4th for the Phillies' first hit. Following a rough season debut against Washington, the Japanese left-hander has yielded just 3 runs and 9 hits in 24 innings, lowering his ERA to 2.17. Philadelphia starter Jesus Luzardo was charged with 1 run over 4 2/3 innings, allowing 5 hits and walking 4. Chicago got its first run when reliever Orion Karaking walked pinch hitter Moises Bastieros with a bases loaded in the 5th. Cubs left-handed pitcher Matthew Boyd is expected to come off the injured list for his 3rd start of the season on Wednesday. The Phillies have not named a starter. The Chicago Bulls coach Billy Donovan has resigned after 6 seasons, opting to step aside rather than work with a new front office, the team announced on Tuesday. President and CEO Michael Reinsdorf made it clear after firing Executive President of Basketball Operations Arturas Karnisovas and General Manager Mark Eversley near the end of the season that he wanted Donovan to remain on the job. Donovan was arguably the top candidate on the market when the Bulls hired him in September of 2020, a few months after Karnisovas and Eversley got their jobs. Chicago's lone playoff appearance since all 3 were hired came in the 2021-22 season, when it finished 6th in the Eastern Conference at 46-36 and got knocked out by Milwaukee in the first round. The Bulls lost in the play-in tournament the next 3 years. Donovan got a contract extension last offseason. Reinsdorf said that after firing Karnisovas and Eversley that the problem was the roster construction, not the coach. Karnisovas' inability to land a franchise cornerstone player and refusal to give the Bulls a better shot at the number 1 pick by rebuilding were glaring. He finally changed course before this year's trade deadline, dealing Nikola Vucevic to Boston, Kevin Huerter to Detroit, Kobe White to Charlotte, and Chicago product Ayo Dosunmu to Minnesota. The Bulls loaded up on second-round draft picks and did not get any first-rounders in return. In scores from around the MLB last night, the Cleveland Guardians beat the Houston Astros 8-5, while the Cincinnati Reds took down the Tampa Bay Rays 12-6. The Milwaukee Brewers beat the Detroit Tigers 12-4, while the Washington Nationals took down the Atlanta Braves 11-4. The New York Yankees shut out the Boston Red Sox 4-0, and the Minnesota Twins beat the New York Mets 5-3. The Kansas City Royals took down the Baltimore Orioles 6-5, while the Texas Rangers beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-1. The San Diego Padres took down the Colorado Rockies 1-0, while the Toronto Blue Jays beat the LA Angels 4-2. The Athletics beat the Seattle Mariners 5-2, and the San Francisco Giants beat the LA Dodgers 3-1. In NBA playoff scores from last night, the 7th seed Philadelphia 76ers beat 2 seed Boston 111-97, while 7th seeded Portland beat 2 seeded San Antonio 106-103, and 4th seeded LA Lakers beat the 5th seed Houston Rockets 101-94. In NHL postseason matchups from last night, the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Montreal Canadiens 3-2 in overtime, while the Boston Bruins took down the Buffalo Sabres 4-2. The Utah Mammoth beat the Las Vegas Golden Knights 3-2, while the Colorado Avalanche beat the LA Kings 2-1 in overtime. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Looking for a provider who puts your health first? SIU Family Medicine is accepting new patients. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your first appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine, forward for you.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Hey everyone, Paul Scarron here, CEO of Warner Hospital. Spring in Central Illinois is beautiful, unless allergies are slowing you down. If you're dealing with sneezing, congestion, itchy eyes, or sinus pressure, our experienced providers at Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton are here to help. We offer fast, personalized treatment to get you breathing easier and feeling better. Don't let allergies take over your spring. Call or visit us today. Warner Hospital and Health Services, quality care right here, right now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The Iranians continue making trouble in the Strait of Hormuz as President Trump exercises restraint, hoping it will ultimately result in a U.S.-Iran peace deal. The Iranians have attacked several ships in the Gulf, while President Trump has extended the ceasefire indefinitely, awaiting a workable peace proposal from Tehran. By a narrow margin, Virginia voters have approved a congressional redistricting map. It could help the Democrats win control of the U.S. House in November. The redrawn map boosts the Democrats' chances of capturing 4 additional congressional seats in the midterms. State Republican leaders hope the Virginia Supreme Court will step in to undo what they contend is an unconstitutional process. And on Wall Street this morning, Dow futures up 362 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 249. This is SRN News.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
As America's #1 motorcycle insurer, Progressive has your back.
Oh, like roadside assistance.
Oh yeah, Progressive offers that.
Great. Do you have plans Saturday? My cousin canceled and I'd love to have someone to ride with.
Actually, we just do insurance, not riding buddies.
Cool, let's meet at noon. Actually, scratch that. 10 a.m., you and me, breakfast at a diner.
To be clear, Progressive has your back for insurance only. So get a quote and see if you can save.
Okay, so if you beat me there, get me the Lumberjack special. We can share.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roadside assistance may require comprehensive coverage.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local news update. The springtime is a very busy time of year for the CCEF as they fundraise to support all the ways they help the Clinton School District. Clinton Community Education Foundation Secretary Chris Schaefer explains that through things like their Teacher Grants Program, scholarships for high school graduates, and reimbursement of dual credit courses, they support the district with over $60,000 in the last year alone.
Just this year in February, we gave about $14,000 in classroom grants.
Mm-hmm.
Scholarship-wise, it keeps going up. We are so blessed to have many endowed scholarships. In 2025, we awarded 34 scholarships. Now, mind you, some of these scholarships we give are 4 years. So kids are getting these every year for 4 years. But we gave $39,000 from CCEF funds and $13,000 from other funds. So a total of $52,000 last year in scholarship money.
Yeah.
So yeah, we help offset the costs for the AP classes, the dual credit classes. So we pay 75% of the students' cost, and the students only have to pay 25%, which is a great bargain. So the typical cost this past year was $435 for the course. So the kids only had to pay about $100 for a class, which is great. The AP placement fees, we help offset the cost of that. And that's coming up soon, I'm sure. And then we have a bunch of special projects. These are things that are cool. They happen every year, and we give them money to help offset their costs. The Challenger program at the junior high school, the CEO program, all of these kinds of things that are done annually. We help support those as well.
Schaefer says a good year for the CCEF provides over $100,000 to the district.
Gosh, definitely over $100,000, because by the time the AP classes are like $14,000, something like that we pay. Wow. So yeah, It really adds up.
It does.
So our fundraising is so super important. These two events are important because they help us bump up our budget, help with fundraising, and in order to do all that we do, that's one of the things we've got to raise money. And most of the money we raise in our fundraisers go toward classroom grants. We buy additional materials or equipment or whatever is needed to help teachers, things that aren't covered by the budget. And then some go help us with scholarships and then other CCEF activities that we do through the year. Our goal is to enhance what's provided to the kids.
Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Hey, it's Shane from Highway 51 Exchange, your mower and equipment service pros just south of Clinton. Click our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com or give us a call to schedule your free pickup and delivery today. Highway 51 Exchange.
Spring brings brighter days and more time to enjoy them. Your home should too. At Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth, enjoy one-story living and walking paths right outside your door. Spend less time on upkeep and more time enjoying spring. To learn more, click our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is Officer Jones calling for backup.
10-4. Location?
Graver back 40. Looks like we've got Palmer amaranth, kochia, some common water hemp.
Resistant weeds. Copy that. You'll need a good tank mix partner. I'm sending Tough 5 EC.
Come out with your hands up!
Guys, we're surrounded.
Crack down on repeat offenders. Add Tough 5 EC to your post-emergence tank mix. Learn more at toughnweeds.com. Always read and follow label directions. Tough is a registered trademark of Belgian Crop Protection.
Here's Clinton Save-A-Lot owner Dave Jackson on how he works to save you money every day.
I know the retails at the stores in Decatur probably better than most of the people in the stores know. I monitor this closely so customers do not have to. And then you don't have to spend $40 or $30 driving round trip at 60 cents a mile to Decatur or Lincoln or Bloomington. That's real numbers. It's 60, 70 cents a mile to drive your car.
And as Clinton Save-A-Lot owner Dave Jackson always says,
hope to see you soon.
You're listening to a best of segment of the WHOW Morning Show, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, this is a best of the WHOW Morning Show.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in the on the Zoom today is Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln. Always good to see you, Ed. How are you this morning?
Doing great, Seth. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. Well, if we're gonna continue this trend, Ed, of bringing you on, and we're gonna have severe weather 2 or 3 days in the next 2 or 3 days after your appearance, I might have to give you the boot and turn to Mike or Nicole or some of your colleagues over there, because this is getting out of hand. In all seriousness, Ed, what do we know?
Yeah, we're warmer than normal, and that it always feels good in April. I mean, we're hitting some 80s. The humidity levels are really much higher than we'd normally see this time of year, though. So that's gonna give the fuel for those storms on Tuesday and through Wednesday. Severe weather threat, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's kind of go day by day here, Ed. We were talking before we got started this morning. It is really, really muggy out there. It's almost to the point it's sticky inside. Tell me a little bit about kind of our day by day forecast. What are we in store for here this week?
Yeah, so with the real humid areas, you can imagine we're going to have chances of showers and a few thunderstorms in there. Today is just a real spotty 20% chance in there for the DeWitt County area. But we're going to climb all the way up to 83, well above normal. So some gusty southwest winds. So it's gonna feel like a summer day almost, with that 83 high there. But not a lot of rain. It's just really spotty. Tonight, showers are still in there, 30% chance. Once again, just kind of scattered across the area. When you're in a warm sector, like I've mentioned a few times, it's kind of pop-up summertime thunderstorm kind of situation. You don't have a cold front blasting through to trigger a whole line of storms that all go off. So we're really kind of hit and miss, and some of the models are really showing more of the miss. DeWitt County looks really dry all the way through, even most of the day Tuesday. I know Tuesday now we got 40% chance during the day after 1 o'clock. There's a couple of pop-up ones, that drift through McLean County or in the area. So that'll be pretty hit or miss. But the real show is going to be Tuesday night. That's when the severe threat that we have, the enhanced risk just north of DeWitt, the slight risk in DeWitt. That's when those storms are going to come closer to hitting the DeWitt County area. And that's mostly like a late evening, midnight through 2 in the morning kind of time frame, it looks like. So some heavy rain, but the threat there for that time of the night probably will be mainly large hail and some damaging downburst winds. I don't know that tornadoes are going to be as big of a threat at that point of the night, but that's always a possibility. And in this atmosphere, we've got some rotation, some wind shear, so that's gonna fuel some of those storms. So check the third Tuesday night forecast closely as we get that approaches, because that's our highest severe threat at this point, it looks like. And then as we get into Wednesday, then those storms are going to just kind of stay nearby. So Wednesday morning, right out of the gate, you could have some strong storms already going as you head to work. We've got, I think, a 90% chance in there. Yeah. So there's going to be rain on Wednesday, just a matter of the severity level. But definitely want to have your eyes to the sky and be weather aware there, because as you're traveling to work, there could be some pretty strong storms still in the area. And a good part of the day, there's going to be kind of several waves of heavy rain that's going to be moving through the area on that Wednesday into Wednesday evening time frame. So we are also in an outlook on that day for severe threat. I think it's the slight risk is close by. Maybe DeWitt's only in the marginal, but they'll kind of massage where that higher threat zone is as that approaches a little bit there. But Yeah, it just looks wet. Tuesday night through Wednesday evening, there's just going to be a lot of stormy, rainy activity in the area.
Okay, gotcha. So on the other side of all of that, Ed, does it cool down or anything, or what's the, what are we looking at temperatures Wednesday through Friday? We'll say.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Wednesday still, highs mid 70s, 76 or so. We really don't cool down. The rest of the week stays pretty mild. Pop-up showers and storms even on Thursday, 79 for a high. Friday, we're 85, one of the warmer days of the next 7 days. Really, it is the warmest day of the next 7. Friday, 30% chance of showers there, 40% chance on Thursday. So we stay in the warm sector. We don't have a cold frontal passage till Saturday night. Well, Saturday during the day. And that's going to start to bring in some cooler air. Then the highs, on Saturday, 71, Sunday, 60, and then in the 50s on Monday the following week. So, and then the lows are going to kind of creep down toward the 30s again. Anytime we say the word 38 for a low, then you got to think, maybe a little bit of frost forming at the ground level. So, we're going to cool down next weekend, I should say, into early the following week.
Sure.
And then we'll be dry, as we head into Sunday, says sunny and 60. Same thing for Monday. It's going to be cooler and dry. It appears that's finally when we're going to dry out in terms of rain chances anyway.
Okay. So by the time it's all said and done, any idea how much precipitation we could be in for here in the next week?
Yeah. I've got a 7-day plot here, and it's pegging 1.5 inches to 2 inches for DeWitt County. So, that's just 7 days. That's normally a half a month.
Wow.
Wow. So if we get up to 2 inches, so that's a lot of rain. And we've been taking a bite out of our drought. This is hopefully going to help continue that trend here.
Yeah. Well, and it's, again, I go back to conversations we've had many times over the years now, Ed. It's one of those things, you want a good soaking and you don't want it all at once. And that seems to be where we're headed here.
Yeah, that's exactly. This week is textbook help take a bite out of the drought, because it's just going to become in chunks and waves, and not like a 6 to 8 inch rainfall on any one day, something like that.
Yeah. Very nice. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is our guest on the Zoom here for this morning. Well, Ed, let's get into the rest of April while we're on the topic. So it sounds like we cool down next week. I don't know if there are outlooks for, say, what is next week? Next week's the 20th through 24th. I don't know if there's outlooks for, say, like the 19th through the 30th or anything. But what are the kind of last 2 weeks of the month showing for what we could be in store for?
Yeah, it switches back to above normal, and even the 6 to 10 days still has above normal temperatures in there. So even that brief cool down early next week, I wouldn't suspect that's going to last very long at all, because the 20th to the 26th, 8 to 14 day outlook, solidly in the 50th to 60th percentile of above normal temperatures and above normal precip. So we have a short break in there when high pressure settles in Sunday, Monday, but it looks like they're going to have a few more storms coming back as we head into the late week into the following weekend. And then the 3 to 4 week outlook, that's where we finish out the month. April 25th through May 8th shows below normal just north of DeWitt County, actually all the way down to about Ice, Peoria, Bloomington, and north is below normal temps. So we're not going to be pegging the meter in the 80s probably as we finish out the month on a more frequent basis. And then above normal precip still in there for the end of the month, early start of May. So not a real strong signal there, just a little tip to the balance, 33 to 40% above normal precip probabilities there. But we should get some nice rainfall that's going to really take the drought out of the story almost, really. We can get this rain the rest of the month. If we get that much rain the rest of the month, we're really going to have very low areas of drought that are impactful at this point.
Sure. What are temperatures for this time? What are normal temperatures for this time of the year? What does and how about when we finish April? Where do those jump to? And then what is normal precipitation for April? Where do we stand, and where do you think we end up? How about a few of those things, Ed?
Sure. Yeah, we're above normal precip for April already. I mean, I plotted the CocoRa's summary of April 1st to the 13th. And just north of DeWitt County, there's a 4.92, which, normal for the month is 4.25. So some areas already have their full monthly amount of rain. And in the DeWitt County area, our CocoRa's are about 2.5 inches, just shy of 2.5. So doing well. It's above normal on our climatology. We're about a half inch above normal at the Lincoln office, and that includes, looks like, roughly all the way through DeWitt County. So you're above normal in precip, and I think we're going to end up above normal pretty solidly. Because we're going to get another couple inches of rain, out of the next week's storms, and then we remain above normal tendencies all the way through the end of the month. So I'd be surprised if we end this month and we're not, about an inch above normal, probably.
Wow. Wow. Gotcha. Did you say where temperatures usually end up in April?
Yeah, right now the normal high is 63 and normal low is 39 in this April, but at the end of the month it's 70. The 70 is in there, and then 46. So it's pretty comfortable. 70 is nice. And then as you head into May, by the end of that first week it's 72 and 49. So we're pretty regularly in the low 70s at that point. Low is right around 50.
At this time of the year, it's the joke, and it's not necessarily just this time of the year, but it's, the mantra, if you don't like the weather in Illinois, just hang around for a day and it'll change. What makes March, April, even May to some extent so unpredictable when it, or so volatile when it comes to, we're going to be 85 today, and then we're going to drop down to 57 the next day. What is up with all that? That's the swings in weather patterns.
Sure. Yeah. Good question. Because the wintertime jet stream is right across the central part of the country on a frequent basis. And in the transition time, that jet is going to start to shift back north again. And we're going to be under warmer conditions, and the cold air will be bottled up in Canada. But there's really cold air still not too far away in Canada, and there's really warm air in the Southwest U.S. And that battles, and we're in the battleground. So as that jet stream is trying to oscillate back north and set up for the summer and give us those heat domes, we're in the battleground. And you can get a day where that jet stream buckles and all of a sudden you got Canadians 40s, or you get a surge of a low pressure in the west coast, shoves that hot air right into the central plains, and you're dealing with 85s and 90s within a 2-day period.
Yeah, right.
One day we were 80, and then we dropped to about in the 30s that night, 50 degrees in like 8 hours, 6 hours.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of air masses that are so close together in this transition time of spring. And that's why the weather's so volatile. You can really generate some intense storms when the temperature differences of 30s and 40s and 90s are that close together.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. How about daylight hours? We're ever increasing on the daylight hours. Where do we typically end April? I guess what sunset's been 7:30 ish lately. Where do we typically end April for daylight time?
Yeah, the sunsets by the end of the month are going to be 7:43 or so, getting closer to 8 o'clock at night, and then sunrises will be right near 6 a.m. So, we're going to be getting into that 13 and a half to 14 hours of sunlight, which is really nice. It's definitely good to be able to enjoy your evenings with a little bit of sun, light in the sky. And then, if you're an early riser, 6 a.m. sunrise, twilight's about a half an hour before that even. So, if you get out there and maybe run or do something outside, you can start to see what's going on around you already as early as 5:30 a little bit, by the end of the month anyway.
Dare I say the we've seen perhaps the last of the snow for the year, Ed, and are we maybe out of the kind of I know 50s is plotted for early next week, but I don't know. It feels like we have turned a corner, at least from a temperature perspective. What do you say to that?
Yeah, the outlooks support no more snow really, and if it would be like you'd see the flakes flying maybe, and then they melt, but I would highly suggest that you could probably have a good chance of putting away your shovel at this point and not have to, you're not gonna have to shovel. If there's some snow that falls in central Illinois, it's gonna melt pretty quickly. We would have to get hammered for you to have to use a shovel at this point. And in the outlooks, even through the early middle part of May, I'm not seeing any real cold air masses that would support that kind of a snowstorm in central Illinois. Things would have to really change in the extended outlooks at this point to really allow for that kind of a cold air mass to get in here.
My kid wants to know, can we start wearing shorts every day, or are we not quite there yet?
Yeah, you can absolutely. It's your tolerance. I grew up in Wisconsin. We wear shorts in the 30s, so
Very good. Well, Ed, where do folks go to find outlooks, weather information, data, all the things? Where do they find it?
Weather.gov/Lincoln.
Let's take a break, my friend. Come back with some more. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is my guest on the Zoom. More to come with Ed on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. A steady start for corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. May corn opening 4.54 3/4, up a penny. July corn up a penny, 4.63, and December new crop 4.83, up 1 1/4. May beans starting the day 11.76 1/4, up 1 3/4. July beans up 2, 11.92 1/4. November new crop 11.67 1/4, up 3/4. May Chicago wheat 6.04 1/4, down 3/4. May KC wheat 6.41, down 2 1/2. May bean meal 325.70, up 40 cents, and May bean oil 72.64, up $0.50. Energy market, June Brent crude oil $100.01, up $1.53. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
This is in
Spring is in the air, so it's time to choose your new Silverado. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. We have a good selection of new Silverados with springtime savings and special finance rates. Choose from regular cabs, double cabs, or crew cabs in gas or diesel. We're also allowing extra money for your trade on all new Silverados this month. Silverado, together let's drive. See all our inventory at BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
You're listening to a best of segment of the WHOW Morning Show, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, this is a best of the WHOW Morning Show.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is my guest on the Zoom. Ed, let's get an update on the drought. You mentioned we may just wipe out this drought conversation altogether before the end of the month. What's the latest? What do we know here?
Yeah, we've done a lot of improvement on that front. DeWitt County right now is in the lowest abnormally dry, D0. At this point, there's just a little far eastern corner of D1 moderate drought, and that extends into northern Champaign County. But, it's a vast improvement from the extreme D3 drought we had in a lot of Champaign, eastern DeWitt. We've got at basically the lowest level D0. So if we get just a couple more weeks of above normal precipitation, I would suspect that Dr. Trent Ford, the state climatologist, will work with us on massaging that down to probably, no drought classification. But, we still had some aquifers that needed to be replenished and whatnot. So we'll see, if that comes into play a little bit. But right now, the soil moistures are showing, not too bad at this point. D0 is just abnormally dry, so to speak.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. So, yeah, and a couple more inches to close out the month. It sounds, or did you say a couple inches just this week?
This in 1 week said, yeah. The 7-day outlook has 1.5 to 2 inches for DeWitt County.
Yeah, gonna be wet. Gonna get wet out there. So glad I got the yard mowed yesterday. Quite honestly, it'll shoot back up before we know it, for sure. Any windows to get the yard mowed? Maybe Friday, Saturday ish, Ed.
Yeah. There's going to be a little bit of a break in there. Even if like most of Tuesday probably won't be that wet. I think our rain coming in for the DeWitt County areas, after sunset Tuesday night. So if you've got today, tomorrow, all day, even into the evening, probably to get it, some of that cut.
Gotcha.
After that, it looks like Friday has some openings in there, and for sure, Sunday is kind of a week away almost, but. That's the real it's dry day. It's Sunday.
I don't know if I've told you this before. I've got a Saint Bernard at our house, and and our backyard gets pretty muddy when it gets wet, just with all the trampling he's done. And I'm thinking about maybe I need to wash him or something before he goes to his next grooming appointment. He's going to get awfully dirty. But anyways, hey, Ed, let's dive into the forecast for May, June, July. What's the 3-month outlook tell us about ushering in the summer?
Yeah, right now it's May, June, July showing above normal temperatures. Just the tier 1, that's 33 to 40% tipped balance towards above normal, but and then equal chances of precipitation above or below normal there. So looking okay. I mean, nothing too hot, nothing too wet, just kind of a normal ebb and flow looks like of a spring here. And even the true summer, June, July, August is climatological summer, and that shows just equal chances for temperatures.
Okay.
So the heat wave doesn't look like it's going to set up during the summertime, the middle of the summer there. So, and then precipitation wise, just shows equal chances of above or below normal again there. So, just kind of ebb and flow of summer. It looks, no major heat waves at this point. So that's kind of a good thing, because that usually spells rapid onset drought. If we see a really high above normal temperature signal, that usually spells, not a lot of rain coming through. So yeah, we may have, we may see equal chances of precipitation, but I would maybe see that probably expand if we're going to have a little bit cooler air. That just means more cold fronts are coming through.
Where do temperatures start in May? Where do they end in May?
Yeah. May starts out with that 70, 47 high and low, but by the end of the month, 80, 57, nice. We're averaging an 80. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's really comfortable there.
I did want to ask, pardon me, sorry about that. I did want to ask, Ed, I am thinking about putting a garden in my yard this summer. I'm really more watching the overnight lows than anything. When do we start to see those overnight lows maybe creep up towards that upper 40s, lower 50s? I can start putting some stuff in the ground and feel okay about it not freezing to death.
Yeah, after May 1st, you really have a solid chance there, because our normal low at May 1st is 47, but by the 8th, it's 50.
Okay.
So, when the overnight lows average 55 or above, that's when you really get that overnight growth. If they creep down towards the 40s, then slows things down quite a bit. But those warm nights in the spring are really what keep the pump going in terms of the greening up and the growth. Yeah, after the first week of May then you're normally going to be in the low 50s at least for lows for the most part there. So that's
beautiful,
really comfortable. You don't have to worry about freezes usually at that point.
Sure. Let's wrap up, Ed. Any awareness campaigns or things the Weather Service is putting out in terms of information?
Yeah, April is still severe weather season, so I always want to toot that horn of tornadoes can cause a lot of damage very quickly, and having a plan on how you're going to respond to tornado warnings and following that is so important. Lightning awareness, we're having things, baseball starting, and everybody's outside a lot more now. So lightning awareness, while Lightning Safety Week is in June, I always want to mention, if you hear thunder, really just pause things for a bit until you can, have that thunder end for 30 minutes.
Very good. Ed, where do folks go to learn about all things weather, data, and forecasts?
Weather.gov/Lincoln.
Very good. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln. Ed, always good to see you. Appreciate your time as always. Network News comes your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Be sure to tune in to the WHOW Morning Show to hear from guests in your community weekdays 8:30 to 10 and streamed online at DeWittDailyNews.com.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, along with 92.3 FM Clinton and 106.5 FM Bloomington Normal.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. A close vote in the Old Dominion, a vote with national implications.
Voters in Virginia have approved a congressional redistricting plan that could help Democrats win up to 4 additional U.S. House seats in this year's midterm elections.
We don't have the population of Northern Virginia.
Ruth Ann McCartney voted in South Hill.
As a rural area, we just need to be heard.
She was a no.
I just want to be even.
Tangerine Gost voted yes.
Democrats and Republicans, to me, they're going to do what they're going to want to do anyway.
Joanne Lucy's theory?
I'm wondering if maybe it's just because of Trump.
But their votes may not be the final say. The question still faces legal challenges, including before the state Supreme Court. I'm Ben Thomas.
And Virginia's Republican leaders, including former Governor Glenn Youngkin, accuse the Democrats of advancing an unconstitutional process that will disenfranchise millions of Virginians. Sounds like the Iranians are severely testing President Trump's patience.
Iran opened fire on a container ship in the Strait on Wednesday morning, and a second was attacked a short time later, according to the British military's United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Centre. Iranian state television then reported that the ships were in the Revolutionary Guard's custody and were being taken to Iran.
Correspondent Charles De Ledesma. Ukraine's foreign minister says Kiev is pushing for direct talks between President Zelensky and Russian President Putin. In the meantime, the war drags on. Russian authorities say a Ukrainian drone strike in Russia demolished a residential building, killing a woman and a child. Ukraine has also developed long-range drones targeting Russia's military infrastructure. Watching Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are up 309 points. The NASDAQ futures ahead 210. S&P futures better by 44 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you're hearing my voice, chances are you're either worried about a parent living alone or you are that parent. And you know your family worries about you too. Either way, there's a company that finally got senior safety right. Connected Caregiver. Connected Caregiver is everything you knew about alert devices, fall detection, emergency button, GPS, reimagined for today. There's a small wearable that alerts your family's phone the moment something happens. Inside your home, discrete sensors, no cameras, no microphones, just motion sensors have you covered even when you're not wearing it. No movement for hours, your loved ones will know. For the kids, you go from hoping everything's okay to knowing it is. And for you, you stay in your home on your terms while giving your precious family the peace of mind they've been asking for. That's not losing independence, that's keeping it. Visit ccgoffer.com to see if you qualify for a free device. It takes 2 minutes. That's ccgoffer.com, ccgoffer.com. Do it today.
Cuban exiles hope that if the communist regime collapses in the face of economic pressure from the Trump administration, it will bring compensation for the property, homes, and businesses they lost to the communists 6+ decades ago.
Raul Valdez-Fauli, a Cuban-American and the former mayor of Coral Gables in Florida, says his family lost everything when in 1960, Fidel Castro's government confiscated banks, sugar mills, and the 200 largest industries.
My father and my uncle, who was the president of the bank, were sitting in their office, and somebody came in with a machine gun and said, "You are a bunch of worms, gusanos. Get out of here. This now belongs to the people, to the revolution."
Valdez-Fauli is one of many Cuban Americans who are hoping that if there's U.S. military action and regime change in Cuba, they'll finally get back what was taken from them. I'm Donna Warder.
Find more news and analysis at townhall.com. The FAA is planning to upgrade outdated air traffic and safety systems, says it will take just 3 years.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy gave an update after Congress approved $12.5 billion to get it started.
Our people deserve the most technologically advanced air traffic control system, and that's what we are going to deliver.
If it's successful, the overhaul would cut down on delays and cancellations and add more capacity, replacing aging radars, radios, and networks, while adding surface awareness systems at 200 airports.
It's a big project, and we're going to make sure that we keep the airspace safe as we do an incredible overhaul.
Jennifer King, Washington.
President Trump's nominee to serve as chairman of the Federal Reserve, Kevin Warsh, told the Senate hearing that he never promised the White House that he would cut interest rates. And President Trump has repeatedly urged the Federal Reserve to do so. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Spring is in the air, so it's time to choose your new Silverado. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. We have a good selection of new Silverados with springtime savings and special finance rates. Choose from regular cabs, double cabs, or crew cabs in gas or diesel. We're also allowing extra money for your trade on all new Silverados this month. Silverado, together let's drive. See all our inventory at bombchevybuick.com right from the start.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast.
Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Today, with daytime highs approaching 80. Southwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 58. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Lots of sunshine. Tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 80. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Right now, it's 66 degrees.
The National Pork Board continues to lean into consumer preferences to grow demand. Kirsten Hafer is Vice President of Business Intelligence and Innovation.
As we think about this being a consumer campaign that's executed at retail or executed at food service, the consumer metrics are really important. And we think about things like household penetration. So are more households bringing pork into their household? Are we growing the number of items that they're bringing in and buying? Are we growing the number of trips that they're making that include pork in their basket? Are we increasing the amount of money that they spend on pork? Not necessarily on a per item basis, but in total. Are we getting them deeper into the portfolio and getting them to buy more pork products consistently?
And she says,
we've got the sales metrics, and that really does boil down to, are we actually moving consumers from consideration to actual purchase or consumption?
For more information, go to porkcheckoff.org.
Here's Matt Hart, owner of the Hart Media Group in Clinton.
It's been great. You and Ben and the entire team are doing a great job. And we're just continuing on serving the local community, right? This is what this is all about. We're here to serve our local community. We're here to tell the local stories. We're here to cover the news. So nothing in that regard is changing. Our goal is connecting people. And that's our tagline at Hart Media Group. It's connecting people.
Hart purchased the Miller Media Group in August of 2025 and looks forward to serving the community for years to come.
You're listening to a best of segment of the WHOW Morning Show, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, this is a best of the WHOW Morning Show.
You're from New Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today is Lincoln Police Chief Joe Meister. Chief, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. I think we're into spring. You think we're into spring?
It changes every day.
Doesn't it?
To my weather app on my phone.
I know. It's going to be like...
I want to say that you're right.
I hope so. Yeah, for sure. Springtime, which means probably a lot more foot traffic. For you folks in Lincoln, there's a lot more to keep track of, obviously, than Clinton and some of the other community law enforcement folks I talked to on the show. So what does springtime bring in terms of challenges in Lincoln? What do you come up with?
Yeah. So like you mentioned, there's more foot traffic. It's easier to get around. Bicyclists and folks out walking. The vast majority of them are up to exactly what they should be doing and enjoying weather. Some others are out there taking a look around the neighborhood, maybe seeing what they might be able to pick up that isn't theirs, but they would like to keep for themselves. So we're seeing a rise in burglaries like we do every year when the weather warms up. More nighttime traffic, foot traffic, bicycle traffic, like I was talking about. So one of the things that we suggest is obviously strong locks, good lighting, making sure you lock your car doors. That's a huge one. Please don't leave your keys in your unlocked car, because you're going to wake up without it if that happens. Just those annual tips that we give every year to protect yourself from being a victim of a property crime.
Yeah, for sure. And when it comes to property crimes, Chief, so many of these are not necessarily forced entry crimes. It's really opportunistic.
Absolutely. Crimes of opportunity. And that's why I said it's so important to make yourself a hard target. Your outbuildings, make sure you lock your sheds after you're done with your mower and you put it up. Those are things that criminals notice. So they're out there looking for it. So you having forgotten to lock up, it creates a opportunity for a person to commit that crime.
Sure. And I don't know what you experience in Lincoln, but just talking with like Chief Lowers here in Clinton, Chief Bross in Monticello, just some of the law enforcement guys we have on, they talk oftentimes about how burglars are not looking necessarily to take your vehicle. They're looking for what's in that vehicle, something they can sell, maybe that petty cash or that loose change. Speak to maybe what you encounter in Lincoln.
Yeah, loose change, phone chargers, radio theft used to be a big thing when I became a police officer. That's really not so much anymore. But media devices, if you leave your phone or a iPad in the car, those are the types of things that folks are looking for. And then tools. Tools is another big one. It's probably the number one stolen item in the city of Lincoln, or power tools. And then
why is that?
If you are a person who exercises your Second Amendment right and carries a firearm to protect yourself, please do not leave it in your vehicle at any point in time.
Yeah. Why are power tools such a big target?
They're just they're easy to get rid of. So any pawn shop will accept them. Folks can trade them. They're of high value. So
yeah, we had a circumstance several years ago here at the station where unfortunately my car was broken into, and it wasn't broken into. I left it unlocked, and I had station equipment taken. We tried to track it down to no avail. One of the recommendations that came our way was on all of our stuff, write a marker, that we would know, or serial numbers, things like that. That way, when if this person sells it online, they can find that serial number. If they take it to a pawn shop, they can find that. How about that?
That's a huge tip. So a lot of expensive items, electronics, power tools, things of that nature already have a serial number on them. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people don't record their serial numbers. For instance, when I buy a power tool, it comes with an owner's manual. I just take a brief moment to write down the serial number on the owner's manual. I put the owner's manual with my other important paperwork that I always keep. That way, if it's stolen, I have the information to make a stolen property report. And that report, if it has enough detail in it, is what assists us in recovering that item. If the tool or the item doesn't come with a serial number on it, law enforcement knows it as an owner applied number. So you could don't write your social security number on it, but you could apply your own individual identifier on that property, record it, and then give it to us, and it acts the same as as a serial number.
Got it. Yeah.
While we're on that subject, the city of Lincoln a few years ago, we decided to invest in a program that law enforcement can access that basically reaches every pawn shop that you ask it to. And then we can search for those items there by serial number, by model and make, all those things.
Really?
And that's helped to recover a lot of stolen tools in other communities. So if your tools were stolen from Lincoln and pawned in Peoria, we can access all the records for the Peoria pawn shops and try to locate it if we have enough information.
I remember this was well over 10 years ago, but tree stand theft was actually a big thing in rural parts of the area. And I remember our sheriff at the time, Sheriff Schaffner, said, record that serial number for your tree stand, and that's a good way to recover it. So that was another one that came to mind as well. So record those serial numbers and that information, while it just seems so minor, really sometimes you only need that to set up like a warranty or something for the whatever it is, that can come in handy if it ever need, if this type of circumstance arises.
If the unfortunate circumstance arises that you are the victim, if you have all that information, it helps law enforcement recover your tools at the very minimum, if not prosecute the person who took them from you.
For sure. And in those circumstances, are you ever able to track down the person that had?
Absolutely. The better pawn shops always require a person who pawns an item or sells an item to them to provide a photo identification. So I can connect a known stolen piece of property with the person that pawned it, and at least have a lead to maybe that person didn't steal it. They they bought it or somebody gave it to them. They're somehow involved in that crime, though.
Yeah.
And that's a lead to follow, hopefully all the way back to who the thief was.
What do you find, for items that are stolen and you're able to recover them? What is the ratio of like they take it to a pawn shop or they sell it online, like a Facebook marketplace or an eBay, something of that nature? What's the ratio of those at this point, you think?
I would say it's probably 70-30. It used to be
70-30 to
70-30 Facebook marketplace or Craigslist or something like that, 30 to the pawn shops, because